Hi guys, I'm your host Will Greywing, and today we're doing another Java coding episode. So where we left off, we added these. We added the counters, which is currently displaying our updates per second and our frames per second. Currently, we're sitting at 240 updates and 800. And that is running every 4 seconds. So, which is a pretty good speed. Not too fast, not too slow, so. And let's see, so what should we do next for this episode? Well, for one thing, we have these values int render limit and update limit, which are currently being set here, which is fine for now, but this one definitely needs to be changed. So I'm going to call it display cycle, and the reason I'm doing that is so that way I have kind of a consistency. And unlike the other cycles, this one's not going to be a double, it's going to be a short, because it's never going to be bigger than the short limit, so this should be fine. So we're changing that. So we're setting up a display cycle to 4000, and the display cycle. Right, and stop that for now. And if we run it again, it should operate the same as it's been before, so okay. Yep. So we're getting 248,000, not 8,000, 800. So pretty good update cycle. So let's see. Now then that's squared off. Probably want to have all of these ones where we have specific values, like these three here. Probably put those in a separate class just to store them. Let's see, because then that kind of streamlines this, so we can change them in another class without affecting this, and the game cycle will continue to run well. Now, this code is getting a little bulky here, but at the same time, the rendering loop here is currently functioning, running within the main class. We could move it out of there so it's separate, but for now it's kind of fine. So let's create that new class. So we create a new class, and I'm going to call it game settings. And click finish. Now game settings is going to be a special class where we have all our information in. since everything is within the same package, we can get by without using the word public. So instead, we'll look at these variables, copy these over here, and now we call it, instead of, like, we keep everything the same, except instead of here, instead of having a specific game settings class where we have to create an instance of it, we can make it static, since then we only have to deal with one and we're not changing things as much, so it makes more sense to do it this way. So now we have a static update limit and render limit and display cycle. And so these three are kind of italicized because we're dealing with static. And the way to tell the difference is if I remove static, it changes back to the normal text. With static, it's specifically set to set to this, which is italicized. Alright, so now we have the game settings class. And then we go back to our game. And now we can simply remove this. And then for here, all we need to do, where now we have some errors, all we need to do is type in game settings dot update and game settings dot render, and hold on. Okay, yeah, because I changed that one. Oh yeah, and I forgot to say if that's the reason. Okay. And now go down to here. We say game settings dot display cycle, and now with all these three, we've removed 3 lines of information from the game. And the nice thing about this is the game doesn't need to know what those values are, because the file is going to be telling it what it is. So, and if we run it now, the code should run exactly the same. And as we see, it's still getting 240, 800 top FPVS. Which is pretty good, so. 800, okay. And one thing that I can change from the last episode is adding this equals to the end. This way, if it's equal to the render cycle, then we can also update then as well. Whereas without it, we're updating only when it exceeds it, not when it's equal. So there's that. And I think if we run that now, kind of a minor change. Okay, so we have 24800. Okay, yeah, it doesn't seem to affect as much. Maybe a few more times it's 800, but nothing too much that has changed specifically. All right. All right. So now that we have this, we kind of want to, yeah. Let me just switch over to the screen. All right. Yeah, we're still not displaying anything here, but we're currently not even using the, we have the J panel here, but we're not calling its method, which is a specific one. So we're going to do that one next. Alright, and now we're going back to here. So now there's a specific method. Public. Okay, so it involves like the graphics. Let me. Actually, for now, why not? I move. Well, let's see. I can move the width and height in here too, but save that for later. I'm gonna give this a little bit of a think. All right. Yeah, I just had to research something, so I completely forgot that I have to do this. Build void, we need the component class, so I think it's game component, and then graphics G. Okay, so the graphics G is correct. Okay, not game component, it's paint component. And that's overriding the previous paint component, and we want to do super to call previous paint component, which passes into its superclass. Now we have the information we need here, and the super paint component is here. And so now we go over to the game. Now we have it existing. Now we can't call like paint component by saying panel dot like oh right, because so we have to call repaint. Nope. Oh yeah. Okay, so we can't call that because And the reason we can't do that is because our game panel is only a local variable, meaning the update and render games are outside of its scope, so game panel now has to become an instance. So to do that, all we have to do is shift it up here, and now we have a game panel class. Although right now it is giving errors because main actually is static. Alright, and so we have to push this down here below games so we can try this. Now, by doing this, it solves those errors because now we have the object that is static, which is the game class, taking in the game panel values, which then builds our window and everything else is working as it should. Prior to that, game panel and game could run their own methods directly. Now we need the game panel tied to the game in order for this code to function. And so now for rendering it, we simply call Repaint, but we have to call game panel dot repaint. And what Repaint will do is call the game panel's paint component. So now we run that. Not much has changed specifically, but now we're definitely calling the JPanel's paint components, but nothing is changing on this box that we have. I'll show that for a moment. This, as we see, nothing here has changed. It's just we've gone in physically here, but we now have access to the paint component, which will draw graphics on here. Right, and let's see. Yep. Well, we made some good progress. I think I'll call it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. This is Braywing signing out. Bye bye.